It did not work, right?
Uh, Hello everyone. Welcome to today's SD. Today's SD's topic is sales evolution. Let us start by introducing ourselves. Uh, I'm Samhita. I'm the moderator for today's SD.
Hello everyone, I'm Shubhangi. I'm the co-moderator for this session. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm the coach of the team Evolutionary Engine. My name is Srishti.
Hi everyone, this is Joita. I'm from Team Evolutionary Engine.
Hello everyone, I am Vaibhav Modi from Team Evolutionary Engine.
Hi everyone, I'm the coach of the team Closing Ninjas.
Hello, I am Aditya from Team Closing Ninjas.
Hi everyone, I am Vikrant from Team Closing Ninjas.
Yeah. So, who would like to start SD today's SD?
I'll start.
Okay,
So,
please.
first, I'll go ahead and explain why we chose the team name the Evolutionary Engine. So, every industry, every market, every way of selling, none of it stays still. It mutates and adapts and evolves in response to the people it serves and the environment it operates in. So we believe that the best sales systems aren't built on just instinct or tradition. They're engines. They're structured, self-correcting, and always evolving. So that's who we are. We are the evolutionary engine. Give me one. Over to you, Jaita.
Thank you, Drishti. Okay, so like when we say, like when any new ideas are being introduced into the market, like people don't immediately buy it. It takes quite a lot of time for people to accept the very idea itself. And for that, companies put a lot of effort into to gain trust over that particular idea or product. So if I consider the example of insurance policy, so the very concept when the insurance policy came into existence into the market, people were very refrained from that very concept, because why would people will put their hard-earned money into something they are not getting any return for? So it's basically, but why it's important to invest, sorry, why it's important to put money into policy in insurance? Because insurance is kind of a strategic risk management that it helps you in time of your need. Like it will act as your own support system at time of your need, right? So like when that time the companies, what they did was that they introduced sales people like a sales agent, insurance agent, who will have a conversation one to one with their retail customers to make them understand why the very why taking or putting money into insurance is important. So that's how it all started, and the process of sales itself started for insurance. Can we move on to the next slide?
Sorry, my laptop is not responding.
It's okay. It's okay.
Um, Jaita, would you be able to share your screen? It's not moving to the next slide.
Okay, just a minute. Allow me. Is it visible?
Yes, please
Yes.
start the culture.
Okay. And so over time and time again, it's visible, right?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So so when sales actually came into the market, it started changing time and time again. So people and organizations started getting immune to the very concept of sales. So it started changing the uh, process that sales were being done. Initially, if I consider the example of insurance, um, people like organization used to introduce one-to-one sales, but eventually, like if I consider now, as time has changed, just like like it has adapted with time, technology, and customer behavior. Today, if I consider the example of Amazon itself, Amazon has started introducing the concept of online shopping. But when Amazon itself started introduced that concept of online shopping, they mostly focused on pricing and convenience because the concept itself was very much new. But eventually, if we consider now the very if you see their apps or the way like online like if we web browsing of their application, then we see that how they introduce personalized recommendation during when we do the search for any product or any item that we want to buy. For the next, hand it over to uh I would hand it over to Drishti to continue for the next presentation.
Okay. So, um, dividing roles prevents burnout and ensures that each specialist can focus on a specific mental phase of the buyer's journey with absolute precision. So, customers are more likely to trust a specialist over a generalist who seems to know a little about everything. Specialization allows the organization to build an assembly line of intelligence where each part of the funnel can be independently optimized and measured. Next slide, please, Jaita. The line is drawn at intent. This is a very important point in sales where people think that they're being manipulated. But the difference, uh, it doesn't even matter with intent. The difference comes in if whether the person after completion of the sales, if uh, they get, regardless of what the seller intended, the practical test isn't that the technique you used, it's whether the buyer would make the same decision again with full information. They should not feel as if they were later misled or that something was hidden from them. That is the main difference between manipulation and sales, or the thing that we call convincing someone. Next slide, please, Jaita.
Yes, sir.
Well, some people have a natural affinity for people. I am a strong believer that, you know, uh, Joyita, is there an issue? So we're not saying that talent is irrelevant. We're saying that talent without a system has a ceiling. A naturally gifted salesperson operating inside a well-built system will always outperform one who is operating on instinct alone. So the system, it doesn't replace the human, it amplifies their existing natural qualities. So what we're arguing against is depending on exceptional individuals, because that is not a business, that's a bet, you could say. Handing it over to Vaibhav.
So the process of conversation. While as we know, every person is unique and their mindset is also different, the process they go through to make a particular decision is always follow three cognitive stages, which are awareness, consideration, and decision. While we recognize this universal stage, we can come up with the constant mind map for every interaction. And it also, like, by knowing the exact stage in which a particular buyer is in, we can like consider the info type we need to approach him. this kind of targeted approach can remove the confusion and speed up the process for the buyer to convert in a potential lead. Also, there is a pattern recognition, like by analyzing the data from our past conversation, allows our team to predict the high accuracy customer which behaves like mostly they can be say yes, Vijay, which like potentially be lead to say yes or which are likely to result in no. This is how the data can be prioritized and we can get the most promising leads. Can you move on to the next? Discipline and follow-up. There is a window for opportunity. A buyer readiness is act not on constant. It spikes at the specific trigger moments. Discipline follow-ups is a crucial because it ensures we are present and we window rather than just week after it closed. The consistent follow-up or the communication needs just not the messages. It signals that our organization is reliable and we are following through. And the momentum maintenance is also necessary because the most deal fails because the product was not bad, because the communication that is like going for selling that particular product was lost its momentum. So a week of silence can quickly remove these two from the buyer's attention and moves elsewhere. Can you move on to the next, please? Okay. So traditionally, the BD firms relies on the volumes like mass cold calling, all the different approaches they follow. But the new approach is quietly amplified by AI like deep thought. It replaces the volume precisions and it relies on real-time AI analyzed conversation for specific triggers like hesitation on pricing or repeated pain points. We identify those and we pitch out based on those only. So it implements the specialization that how our new work model work and how the client value chain is working. And why it is working, this is approach is ethically because recommendation are based on the genuine fit, not pressure. These are mainly because we identify the pain triggers and we can finally measurable every stage in the funnel by owned by a specialist who can evaluate independently. Over to you, Joita. Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Evolutionary Engine. Uh, Question box is open for closing ninjas. So who would like to go?
I do have a question. How do you guys think that, something like technology has maybe had an impact on the way customers make things like buying decisions or the products that they usually, look for?
I feel like the answer depends on the product itself. If it's a physical product, then technology has shifted it in a way where people can instantly compare prices at a lot of different, from a lot of different retailers. So, uh, sales has shifted more to just displaying what is the best price that you can give it on, what are the best reviews you can showcase, all of these things, instead of the old technique of cold calling, going door to door, the door to door salesman that we used to have. Uh, so yeah, that is how I think sales is changed by technology. In terms of physical products, the effect has been the uh, most seen.
Yeah, that does answer my question. Thank you.
So I have a question. So you guys mentioned that to not, lose potential leads, it is very important to, start following up or to not lose momentum. What if the business, like the buyer, is busy and somehow you forget to follow up? What happens and how to fix it?
Is the buyer busy or we forgot to follow up?
So it's the buyer who's busy, you cannot find a good time to communicate with him, and the lead is getting colder. So how would you normally fix it?
As long as the prospect is engaging, I would say that the lead is not going cold, because respecting their time and their schedule is important in building that connection and trust. So if someone is busy, then the important thing from our side, from a sales point of view, is to be consistent in following up whenever they say they have an availability, so that whenever they have a window where they are interested, where they're open to listen, we can make sure that that window is utilized.
Understood. That answered my question. That's it from our teams, guys.
Okay. So now we will be moving forward with the next team. So I would request the closing ninjas to present and introduce why they named their team, sir.
Sure. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Great. All right. So we actually picked the name the Closing Ninjas because it tends to represent our approach to things. So we like to be focused, strategic, and highly effective. Like ninjas, we aim to be precise, adaptable, and disciplined in understanding things like customer needs and guiding them smoothly towards maybe a successful decision of buying something. In our pitch, we explained how sales has evolved from like a simple persuasion to more of a structured, data-driven understanding, or like more of a process. We highlighted the importance of things like trust, ethical selling, specialization, and understanding customer behavior. Overall, our idea is that successful selling today is not just about instinct, but about using smart strategies and consistency to build long-term customer relationships. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. When a completely new idea is introduced, people don't immediately trust it because there's always some uncertainty and risk involved in it. So businesses need to be active, like business need to actively build trust. This is usually done through social proof like reviews, testimonials, or even early adopters who tend to show that the idea actually works. The credibility of the source also matters. People are more likely to trust a known brand or an expert. At the same time, clearly explaining how the idea solves a real problem helps customer feel more confident. Transparency is also a key part of this because honest communication tends to build more long-term trust. But as customer expectations and trust methods tend to evolve, businesses also need to change how they sell over time. With that, businesses change the way they sell because customers, technology, and markets are constantly evolving. Earlier, sales relied more on things like direct interaction, but today, customers expect a more faster, more convenient, and personalized experiences. With the rise of digital platforms like e-commerce and social media, businesses now have new ways to reach and engage new customers that they might not have had before. At the same time, increasing competition tends to push these companies to improve their strategies and to stand out more. So even if the product stays the same, the selling approach must keep adapting to remain effective and relevant. Moving on to Aditya.
Yeah. Thank you, Ria. So specialization means everyone focuses on one clear role instead of doing everything. When people work in areas they understand well, they become faster and make fewer mistakes. It also helps team break work into smaller tasks like sales, marketing, and support, so nothing gets confusing. Over time, this makes the company grow easily and the quality of work higher. Next slide. Yeah. So trust versus manipulation. So in sales, the goal should always be to build trust, not trick people. Good selling is about being honest, clear, and helping the customer make the right choice. Manipulation, on the other hand, means hiding information or making false promises just to close a sale. Once trust is broken, it is very hard to earn it back. So, long term success always comes from ethical and honest selling. Next slide. Sales as a system. So, sales is not just talent, it is a process that anyone can learn step by step. There is a simple flow: find a lead, explain the product, handle questions, and close the deal. When we follow a clear process and keep improving through practice, results become more consistent. This turns random efforts into predictable success and helps the whole team perform better. Over to you, Vikrant.
Thank you, Aditya. So let's talk about the actual customer journey. The first moment when someone discovers your brand, it could be an ad, could be a word of mouth, but it doesn't matter. But they know that you exist, what you are doing, and that's awareness. Then there's interest. When they are curious, they click around your website, engage with your content, and they actually pay attention to what actually you are selling. Next is the decision, and this is where it gets real. And they are competing you against all the different competitors that are there in the market, reviewing and asking their friends, and this is where it makes the make or break moment. And then finally, the purchase, the conversion that happens. Here's the thing, this is really important that not everyone moves through the same stage at same speed. Some people skip steps entirely, and some bounce back and forth. So, successful selling isn't just forcing everyone through the same funnel, it's about meeting the customers exactly where they are in their journey. Moving on to the next slide. Now understanding the journey is just not, it's the one thing, but executing on it, and that's where the discipline comes in. Timing matters a lot. Let's say if you are reaching out to a prospect too early, you might just annoy it, or if you are too late, they already have moved on to someone else. That's where the consistent follow-ups, that is what that builds trust. It keeps you out of the at the top of the mind and without being pushy. And here's the reality, most sales don't close the call in first call or in second call. You need multiple touch points where before someone's ready to commit. So persistence is the key. And when you have strict discipline around your follow-ups, you don't miss opportunity. You turn the prospect into a long-term partner. And moving on to the conclusion in the next slide, all these things are tied to a data. And data gives us the strategic insight that we can see pattern in the customer's behavior instead of just guessing what is actually happening. It gives us the precision, a better targeting. And honestly, data-driven decisions are just more reliable than gut instinct alone. But this is crucial, the best results that come from data plus human judgment. Data tells what is actually happening and when to act. But the human touch, that's what actually closes the deal. The empathy, the relationship building, and the conversations. So we are not choosing data versus institution. We are combining both because at the end, we are selling to a people, a person. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikrant. So thank you, Closing Ninjas. Now the question box is open for the evolutionary engine.
So I'll go ahead. My question is that, your conversion model ends at purchase, but what about retention and repeat buying? Do you or do you not consider that also a part of sales?
Of course, that's a part of sales, to see, but we just mentioned the four major process of sales. So, to overgeneralize it or oversimplify it, that's why it was mentioned. Otherwise, retention or everything you said is a part of sales.
Okay.
Any more questions from the evolutionary engine? Okay, I guess then that brings us to an end for this SD. I would thank you everyone for sharing their ideas. So I would like to have two reflections for the session as a part of your experience for this SD. So who would like to go first?
May I?
Sure, Ree. Go ahead.
So I feel like this SD sort of made me realize that sales is not just about convincing someone to buy something. It's more about like understanding the customer and building that trust. We also saw how these sales, like the tactics that we use, actually changed over time. So I felt like this SD was quite interesting in that part. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria. We'll go with one more reflection. I would request members.
This
Come forward.
SD kind of drew my attention towards uh, the entire motto of our team, which was evolution of sales. So I want to uh, go back and try to understand how the sales system has evolved, what are the different methods people have used. So this SD drew my attention to that, which is something I think will help me a lot, because what happened, what methods have been outdated in other industries might still work for our industry. So we might find some really nice ways to go ahead with our sales.
Thank you, Drishti. So I guess that brings us to an SD. Being a co-moderator, it was also a good experience to listen to your viewpoints. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Okay, now from the audience, we would like to have reflections. I think we would go forward with 2 reflections. So I would just invite everyone to please come forward and share your experience.
Sorry, Shubhangi, did you take questions from the other team? They just finished their pitch, right? So questions are for today.
Yeah, we took the questions from other teams. The question box was open, please.
I think the live is facing some lags because we did have question box. And check that out.
Would anyone would like to share their reflections, like how much they were able to see from the live YouTube? Like, I'm not sure. Uh, Guys, anyone, like we'll go forward with this 2 reflections. Like, anything would you like to share? Anything which struck you? Maybe you feel motivated to explore more about it.
Guys, come on. At least one reflection. Just reflect on what you understand. It's an interesting topic, guys. You can.
I would like to. From this conversation, I got to know that every person doesn't have to be forced to follow a same path or all the prospect. Some people need time. Some people can jump in at this in at the instant. So it depends upon the prospect, and we should account that as well in our sales.
Uh, can I go next, Samita? Like, I would like to give opportunity to the audience, but if no one is going, I would like to share something.
Yes, Shubhangi, you can go.
So I find the topic very interesting because I never thought sales as a component of technology and having the human touch. So I think from like exploring it in emotional aspect, this is something maybe I would like to explore like as a part of psychology. So this is something, which struck me when I was going through like especially Vikrant's concluding part. And today, for the first time I did co-moderation. So yeah, that was also, I found it, I was little, nervous, but I think somewhat Arthua missed my part. So let's hope for the best. I'm not sure how did I moderate it more. So thank you guys for listening and being a good audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhangi.
Okay, thank you, everyone. If there are no reflections, then we can end today's session. Good night, everyone.